Hey everybody, it's Bolshy here. I thought I'd make a little video here. A few people have requested to see how I do my builds, like what my thought process is. So I'm going to walk you through just a couple of the steps. Now, what I'm doing right now is honestly something I kind of do in my head, or maybe I scribble something down on a piece of paper. But here are some of the main concepts. First of all, I like to start off with a build theme, right? So in this case, my build is going to be a samurai character that I want to construct. Now, the build theme it could come from whatever. It could be a mechanic that I want to explore. Like I might want to make a build that's focused on damage reduction, like I did with the meat shield. Or I might have a character from fiction or a historical figure that I want to recreate. It could be just a class like the Winter Witch. I came up with a build for the Winter Witch. So whatever, start with that first, a main big idea. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to list some things that I think kind of embody that build, that theme. So for the samurai, for example, I mean, I'm not a historian. I don't know much about samurai, but I know that they were kind of honor bound, that they lived by a code of conduct. They were sworn to, feudal lords. And a Ronin was a person who kind of either lost favor with his lord or his lord died, and he kind of became a wandering samurai that would maybe sell his services to people in need. So all of this to me screams lawful alignment, the honor, the loyalty, and all that. So I'm thinking, okay, this could be an Aeon or an Angel playthrough here. Next up, a big thing for samurais is that they were known for being mounted combatants. Okay, so that gives me, now I start connecting these thematic things with mechanical ideas in the game. And, there are some classes that go perfectly with this. So we're thinking Sohei, I think that's how you say it, and Cavalier, specifically the gendarme. That's the mounted, combatant master. And also other things like, okay, this means that I can only take a max of around 4 levels of non-pet class. Otherwise, my pet will become useless, my mount, my animal companion. So these things, I'm taking themes, and they're kind of guiding mechanical ideas that I'm going to make work in the game. The next important step would be that samurai are weapons masters. Okay, they're main 3 weapons that I'm familiar with. And the number one is the iconic katana. I'm not going to make a katana build. The next one would be the naginata, which was equivalent to a glaive. So if you're going to do a melee character, I think I'm going to focus on glaives. Now that's also perfect. So I'm starting to look for things that kind of connect here and here. If I go with glaives, Sohei gets weapon training with pole arms, and they can use flurry of blows with pole arms. So that's what I start doing, is I start connecting the dots here and finding things that synergize together. And maybe I would start looking at the mythic path, like what is it about Aeon and Angel that works well with either the theme of honor or some of these other more mechanical things like using a glaive. We've also got the option of doing a mounted ranged build. Now, I'm not going to do that for this one. I really like the idea of doing a mounted ranged build, but I'm going to keep this simple. And we're going to go with a mounted glaive build to kind of recapture that naginata, which is a ranged polearm weapon that certain samurai, or at least specifically Sohei, which were kind of Buddhist warrior monks that followed a lot of the same ideas as a samurai. Okay, to capture the idea of the weapons master, I also want to have weapons training and weapon specialization somewhere in there. I want this for the build concept, not so much for the mechanics. So I'm looking for other classes that are going to give me that. Sohei gives me weapon training, and I think what I'm going to do is pick up some levels of fighter as well. Okay, this is big picture stuff, thematic stuff, looking for connections. And once I've come up with some ideas of what classes are going to fit this role, then we go on to the next step, which is actually choosing what classes I'm going to take. Okay, I guess I can get rid of this actually. So then I come up with something like this. I start listing, or, again, I'm pretty familiar with the Pathfinder system, so I know this stuff in my head, but, you could write down on a piece of paper or something what are the classes, and at what levels do you get things that you're interested in? So for us, Sohei, going 6 levels gets you Flurry of Blows with any weapon that you have weapon training. Great, I want that. We're going polearms. I want to be a polearm specialist here. We get some bonus feats. That's important later for when we're planning out the build. If you go 11 levels, you can get an additional attack with Flurry. So that's good to know. And also you get an extra bonus feat and an extra and improved evasion, which is really good. So those are things to keep in mind. Now, the Gendarme, I chose this, as level 8 because at level 8, if you go Order of the Sword, you get a really awesome charge buff. You get a lot of charge buffs in general, but at level 8, you get a really awesome charge buff that lets you add your pet's strength to damage. So I think I want that. I want this guy to storm into combat on his mount and just shatter defenses, annihilate one person with a charge attack, and leave everybody else terrified by the sheer power of that display. So that is what I'm keeping in mind as I'm building this thing. I believe I want maybe 4 levels of two-handed fighter. This is going to give me double my strength damage on charge from overhand chop. Also, I get 3 bonus feats at 1, 2, and 4, and I get weapon specialization. Okay, so these are all the things that I listed before that I wanted, not only because they're great mechanically, but they really fit the theme of the build as well. Another option here, and I don't think I'm going to go with this, but this is kind of the idea of listing out classes and seeing what you get, how it fits your theme, where it fits into the build, would be going 3 levels of Hunter. If you wanted to do a twist on this whole concept, and maybe you want to do a Kitsune and you want him to ride, like, I don't know, a lizard or a dog or a dinosaur. So going 3 levels of Hunter here allows us to get a unique mount choice. We can have any animal for mount. You could have a rhinoceros, you could have a raptor, you could have dogs, all kinds of different things. If you want to, add some flavor here, the 3 levels of Hunter is really an interesting choice. It also gives you bonus outflank for free at level 2, which is amazing. You share it with your pet at level 3, and any teamwork feat you get applies to your pets. So this maybe is not what I'm going to go with for this build, but for other mounted combat builds, 3 levels of Hunter is fantastic. All right, so the next step is, once I have my classes chosen and how many levels I want to take in each class, then I kind of plan the leveling here. And this is where I go to the spreadsheet. So the first thing I do is plan out the actual path of leveling that I'm going to take. In this case, I'm going to take 6 levels of Sohei to get that weapon training as soon as possible. It's also, I like to choose classes that fit the theme first so that I feel like I'm playing a samurai right out of the gate rather than, say, a two-handed fighter. So we do that. I also like to list out what my base attack bonus will be at each level. That way I can know exactly when I'll be eligible for feats that have base attack bonus requirements. And then I just start putting in, and on my right side, I've got a list of feats that, these are just the feats that I commonly use. This guy gets a ton of bonus feats. That's probably the next thing I would do is plan out exactly what feats I'm going to be able to get. This build actually gets 12 bonus feats. Now, I'm going human just because, in my mind, when I think samurai, I think of a human. So I'm going with human. And we have a total of 12 bonus feats. So that's a ton. That gives us 22 feats in all that we're going to be able to take. And I just listed, all the feats that I think would fit with this particular build. And right now, even though I have them in 2 different categories, these could both be sitting here. And let's see, I'll count them out. I get 22 total feats. So I have 28 selected here. I would take, the 6 that I want the least out. And then I would start arranging things. So for example, I know that I always want to get outflank as soon as possible. So I'm going to put that right here. Outflank has a requirement of BAB 4. The earliest we can get that is at level 5. Once I also want to get improved critical as soon as possible. So I'll put that here. That has a requirement of BAB 8. I normally don't like Dreadful Carnage because I just don't like that it spams my combat log. I don't like seeing a dazzling display every time I kill something. Maybe there's a mod out there that removes that animation. But this is really important for me, the idea of charging in, killing something, and everybody else, fleeing in terror or at least becoming shaken.
So I'm going to prioritize that as well. I'll put that at level 11 because this has a base attack bonus requirement of 11. And let's see here. You know, something else that I didn't put on here that I want is intimidating prowess. So I want to pick that up somewhere because we don't really have really high charisma. We have high strength. Moving on, things like Boon Companion. When I start taking levels in Fighter, I really want to make sure that my animal companion is caught up and not getting over leveled. So I think after I take 3 levels of Fighter, I'm going to want my Boon Companion there. And from here, now that I have the main feats, I don't think there's anything here that's like terribly important. I'm going to just start filling things in. What's going to make my leveling process the easiest? Now, in reality, power attack is not great in the beginning because, you know, you don't have a lot of items, you don't have a lot of things to stack attack bonus. But on the other hand, I really want to get Cleaving Finish. Cleaving Finish is amazing. And at early levels, when you don't have a lot of attacks, Cleaving Finish is really good, especially on a two-handed character. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put in power attack. I'm also going to put in cleave, just because I want to get Cleaving Finish as soon as possible. And my bonus monk feat, which I can only take mounted or monk feats, I'm going to take Crane Style, just in case I need to fight defensively early. Our second level, we get, oh, I guess I kind of glossed over this. I go into the source of my feats, and once I have my levels written out, I write down all the bonus feats, where I get them, and that really helps to plan things out. Okay, so from here, I just start filling things in. I think at level 2, you know, I'll probably take Spirited Charge, get some extra damage while I'm mounted. We are going to be riding a horse, so we can mount the horse from level 1. And already, we're probably killing something. This doubles your damage on charge, so we're probably killing something every time we charge, which means getting Cleaving Finish at this point will be really nice too. And on it goes. This is kind of how I fill out the builds. So I would do this, find all my feats that I really want, take out the ones I don't, and you know, with an eye for what's going to be happening maybe at different mythic ranks. That's what I have here, my mythic feats. So for example, I might take Mythic Charge. Well, I guess I could take that at any point, but I think you get the idea here. So from here, I just start filling things in. And then I make my choices on mythic abilities and mythic feats, making sure that, you know, for example, like here, I wouldn't take Improved Critical. You get mythic rank 2 maybe at about 7 or so, but just to be safe, I'm not going to put Improved Critical here because I don't have the feat yet. I'm going to go Power Attack, and Power Attack, by the way, is the superior mythic feat anyway. So there it goes, on it goes, and hopefully by the end, we've got a coherent build. Let's see, charge damage. Oh, not bad for level 6. And publish. All right.